Chapter 246, Nirvana Pill. I understand this logic, but not many people can do it. Qi Changqing sigh. I can't help but feel melancholic as I approach old age. Songshi was speechless. Was this fellow acting like this? A 40-year-old golden core cultivator would be a prodigy no matter where he was. He has only spent less than 10% of his lifespan, and he was still lamenting that he was old. He chuckled. You're indeed a little older. I have yet to reach your age and still can't feel your troubles. The people nearby rolled their eyes when they heard this. These two people were too much. One was actually more exaggerated than the other. Qi Changqing looked at Songshi seriously. Then I should call you Brother Song. I wonder what your goal of this trip is. Let me see if we have any shared interest. I haven't decided yet, but I can consider if I know what Brother has goal is. Songshi knew that this guy was testing him with words, so he did not stand on ceremony. The Sword Dao inheritance is the top few supreme treasures. Qi Changqing did not hide his motive. After all, Songshi could find out about this matter just asking around. It was just that the other party was not from Sword Nation and did not know much. Oh, then I'm a little interested. Songshi originally did not have any concept of what the top treasures here were. He came here to make up the numbers, and the Heavenly Ghost Sect did not expect him to be able to go to the Immortal Opportunity platform. Then we can only rely on our own abilities. Qi Changqing smiled lightly and stood up straight. In an instant, to show off his ability, his sword Qi soared into the sky. Songshi felt that the sword energy condensed in his body was about to be triggered and rush out uncontrollably. He frowned and suppressed his sword Qi. He stared at Qi Changqing. So Brother, he also has the sword body spiritual conduit. No. I do have some talent, but it's not the sword body spiritual conduit. It's the connate sword body. Qi Changqing smiled. I was born with a sword body. I cultivated Qi refinement at the age of 3. Comprehended sword intent at the age of 5, reached the foundation and establishment realm at the age of 12, and formed the core at the age of 23. I'm focused on the sword. I'm not as rich as Brother Song. The corners of Songshi's mouth twitched. This guy seriously said that he was ordinary when he was also a talent. He retorted, it doesn't hurt to have more skills. There's no harm in learning more. Qi Changqing walked steadily towards the 9,000 steps. Songshi frowned. Was he arguing with him about his Tao? Sensing that the pressure on the stairs was close to the limit of his body, he decisively shut his mouth and began to climb with all his might. Especially when they were near the 9,000 steps, the pressure on their bodies was almost 10 times greater. Songshi looked around. Other than Qi Changqing, only a masked woman in a green dress and a short hair, muscular man were nearby. The veiled woman's eyes were lively, and her brows were like a painting. A green whirlwind coiled around her graceful body, and her body trembled slightly. Every step she took was rather difficult. The short-haired man was muscular and wore animal skins. He was dressed like a barbarian, and his qi and blood were like that of a dragon or a tiger. He panted violently, and bean-sized beads of sweat dripped down the steps without stopping. Qi Changqing's entire body was like a sword, slightly trembling as he withstood the pressure. The 6 golden cores in Songshi's body lit up. He activated all his nomological powers, but it was still not enough. If not for the fact that he had been burned to death by the Crimson Crow clan many times and his physique had improved, Songshi would probably have found it difficult to walk here with his previous standards. Thankfully, his body had sentient sword Qi and pure yang true fire. His golden divide body was also stronger than his diamond spirit body, allowing him to continue walking normally here. His speed was even faster than the other 3 paragons. The 3 of them looked at Songshi in surprise and secretly sized up his situation. They realized that Songshi had many talents and was exceptionally shocking. 20. Impossible. The short-haired man, who had eavesdropped on Songshi and Qi Changqing's conversation, comforted himself. Qi Changqing did not believe that Songshi was so capable at such a young age. He sighed. Everyone in the world is hypocritical. I'm the only one who's telling the truth. Songshi pursed his lips and quickened his pace. He deliberately walked towards the ball of light that contained sword intent. Qi Changqing panicked and said, Brother Song, slow down. The consumption in front is very high. My nomological power is deep. Songshi did not care. He did not care about the consumption at all, nor did he control his speed to recover. If he did not have enough nomological power, He could just think of a way to die once. Freak, the short-haired man complained. He was so tired that he was out of breath. It was really unreasonable for this guy to be able to accelerate. Everyone was at the Golden Core realm, and he was also a top paragon. Was there such a huge difference? Songshi rushed to the 8,999th step in one go. They were less than 100 meters away from the finish line, and had walked 90% of the way. It was noon, and the sun was scorching hot. The piercing sunlight shone down from the sky. When he turned around, he saw that less than 10% of the people who had entered the second-grade reward area were left. There were only a few dozen balls of light near the steps. He let out a breath and bent his body slightly. He felt like he was pressing down on a mountain. This mountain was not on his back, but in all directions. The sun was clearly shining brightly, but he felt like he was being suppressed in the deep sea. It was difficult for him to even breathe. In reality, the force was akin to 10 ordinary mid-stage golden core cultivators suppressing him with all their might at any time. His essence, energy, and spirit could not escape. I'm almost at my limit. Songshi sighed. His nomological power, stamina, and even spirit were being consumed 10 times, or even more. Even top geniuses, like Qi Changqing, began to stop and recover. Otherwise, once his nomological power would be exhausted, he would be suppressed to the ground like a dead dog and could not move at all. His life might even be in danger. He panted as he sized up the balls of light in the sky. Each of them was brighter than the sun, making him a little dizzy. Nomological power condensed in his eyes, and with a golden flash, Songshi prepared to take the reward. A moment later, his gaze landed on a ball of light in the south. He walked sideways and turned around, arriving at the spot where the red flames were released. The fire looked like a phoenix, and there were phoenix cries coming from it. When Songshi's eyes teared up, he saw through the fire and saw its true form. It was a vermilion pill. What kind of miracle pill is this? It actually formed a phoenix phenomenon, as if it has a life of its own. Songshi was curious. He raised his hand and was about to take it off when a voice sounded behind him. Can you give up the Nirvana elixir? I'm willing to pay the price. Perhaps because she knew of his abilities, she wasn't as rude as the Crimson Crow Crown Prince. Sure enough, the good stuff has been targeted. Songshi turned around and his pupils dilated. He saw a beautiful woman. Although this woman was also masked like the tall woman in the green dress, she was wearing hot clothes, revealing her small waist. Her butt was perky and had an alluring curve. Her chest was also very voluptuous, and her sexy collarbones were covered in sweat as they slowly slid down into her cleavage. This woman's skin was smooth and red, and her eyes were as gentle as fire. There was fire in her eyes, which was both enchanting and dignified. It was even more attractive. He sized up the pill for a moment before saying, "Nirvana pill? That's right, it's a Nirvana pill refined from Phoenix blood essence. It's a high-grade spirit pill. If a severely injured person consumes it, they can undergo Nirvana rebirth. However, I need the Phoenix blood essence contained in it more," the fiery woman explained, her beautiful eyes shining. "You seem to have the ability to not die. This pill is inferior to the breaking essence pill in the north. That pill can directly help you advance a major realm. Nirvana rebirth." When Songshi heard this, he revealed a look of disdain. "It's indeed useless. The medicinal effects are all used on healing. It's a waste."